I walk down the familiar path to the riverbank, a place where I always find a strange, quiet peace in times like these. Not many pack members ever come here, and that, more than anything, is why I cherish it. The moon guides my path as I wipe the tears from my eyes. I had just had an ugly fight with my mother about my twin sister, and this time, Mother hit me. She always takes my sister's side, never wanting to hear my story. I have vowed never to return to that house again. Never. As I near the river, I see a young boy flailing wildly above the surface. I freeze. What is a boy who can't swim doing in the cold river? He is gasping, sinking, rising again, then sinking back. I rush toward him. Since I can swim, I don't hesitate. But before I can dive into the water, he disappears beneath the surface. I search desperately inside the water for him. A few agonizing minutes later, I manage to pull the unconscious boy out of the water, dragging him to the safety of a large, moss-covered tree trunk. Two things hit me when I see his face. He is older than me, and he is Miles Mondragon, the Alpha's son. My crush. Miles? I breathe, brushing wet strands of hair from his forehead. All my bubbling anger for my mom and sister is instantly forgotten, replaced now by a deep, terrifying worry for him. I've had a crush on Miles from the very first day I ever saw him, but we have never, not once, spoken to each other. Well, Miles is the popular senior that ignores everyone in school except his two best friends, Rico and Evans. He is an Alpha's son, after all. He is practically royalty and has to carefully choose who he rolls with. But here he is now, unconscious in my arms, looking so vulnerable and fragile. Panic begins to set in. I lean in and start CPR, just as my late aunt, my father's sister, once taught me. Come on, I whisper. Please don't do this. My mind races. What happened? Why is he out here alone, drowning? I keep pressing. Still no response. I burst into tears. I don't even know the exact reason why I am crying so hard. Maybe it is because I need a good, cleansing cry after what my mother just did. Or maybe because if I fail, I'll lose my very first love even before I ever have the chance to even talk to him. I am soaked to the bone and freezing, but all my mind, all my focus, is to revive him. Please, wake up, I sob, pressing my hands harder on his chest. Dear Goddess, please help me. Miles, don't die. I am so caught up in my tears that I don't even see the water finally pushing out of his mouth. Suddenly, he sputters. His chest jerks, and a choked sound escapes him. I freeze, staring down at him, my heart thudding in disbelief. He is alive. His eyes blink open, dazed and glassy. Who are you? He rasps, his voice barely above a whisper, and his gaze looks unfocused. Relief slams into me so hard I almost forget to breathe. I try desperately to keep calm, but my sobs are still racking my body, shaking me uncontrollably. Miles just lies there, not moving, but I can feel he is awake now. I am a sobbing mess now. The relief I feel doesn't stop my tears. In fact, it only makes me sob even harder, hitting his chest weakly through my tears. Why do you do that? I cry out. Why do you go in there? He tries to sit up, but clutch his head and lies back down. That's when I catch the stench of alcohol on his breath. My eyes narrow. Have you been drinking? He doesn't answer, but I know he has. He's leaving the pack tomorrow for his alpha training. There's a send-off party going on at the pack house. Does anyone even know he's here? You saved my life, he mutters. I can't swim. Thank the goddess, I whisper, trying to lift him, but Miles is too heavy for me. I need to take you back to the pack house. No, I'm freezing, please, Miles groans, and wraps his arms around me, pulling me down beside him. His hug is warm and gentle. It calms the storm inside me. I wish, with all my heart, that we could stay like this forever, and it is almost as if the goddess herself hears my inner prayers. Miles doesn't make any move to pull away. Instead, he holds me even tighter to his chest. Thank you for saving me. You are my savior, he say in a hoarse voice. The compliment washes over me and makes my heart flutter widely. But you need to get back to the pack house. Not like this, he says. My father cannot see me like this. He mustn't know I snuck alcohol with my friends. He'll punish them for it. The night chill gnaws at my bones, but hugging each other gives us a little warmth at least. The only sounds are the soft rustle of leaves in the breeze and the gentle, continuous crash of water lapping against the riverbanks. "Well, you are quite lucky. I got here in time to revive you," I mutter. "Thanks to my dreams, I knew what to do." "What are your dreams?" he asks. "I want to be the best pack healer there is," I say with a little grin. "I want to help people feel hope even when they are sick and vulnerable. My father said I have a special gift." I pause, turning the question back to him. "What about you, Miles? What are your dreams?" He laughs, but it sounds bitter. "Dreams? I'm not even allowed to dream. My life is already mapped out for me. Train hard, take over as alpha, run the family business. That's the sum of it. But I would really like to be a business tycoon." "You can be anything you want if you believe," I say softly. "When you grow up, you can make your own decisions." Grown-ups make their own decisions. "How old are you?" Miles asks. 14, I reply. He nods and runs his thumb gently over my cheek. "I'm 16, he says. "In 2 years, I'll meet my wolf." I already know that. I know everything about Miles, his age, his favorite subjects, his birthday, the way he rubs the back of his neck when he is nervous. He is my secret wish. The boy I dream will someday rescue me. I hope he will end up being my true mate and sweep me away from my mother like some kind of knight in shining armor. But I don't say any of that. I just nod quietly. "What's your name?" he asks. "Miles." His name rings out through the woods. Flashlights cut through the trees. The pack warriors are here, calling for him. "Miles!" Miles quickly removes his hands from me and pulls a necklace from around his neck, pressing it into my palm. "I want to see you again when I come back," he says. "But I might not recognize you after alpha training. If you show me this, I'll know it's you and remember tonight. Will you be my Luna then?" I'm dumbfounded for a moment, just staring at the golden necklace in my palm. I don't know if I'm dreaming or not, but this is like a dream come true. I've always fantasized about marrying Miles, ruling the pack beside him, and becoming a pack healer. "Miles." The searchers are getting closer. "Yes," I say quickly. "I'll be your Luna then. But what if we are not mates?" "We will reject our mates," he says. "I'll reject mine and choose you. What about you?" I nod frantically before I answer. "I will reject my mate too. To me, there's no one else I want. Only Miles." He brings out his pinky finger. "Let's seal it." I hook mine around his, and we press our thumbs together. To my surprise, he leans down and kisses me. It is a quick, gentle kiss, just a soft brush of lips, but it feels like it fills the whole world with stars. My heart goes wild, hammering so fast I think he might hear it. I am too stunned, too dazed, to even think. I just sit there shivering and holding the golden necklace in my palm until he finally pulls away. "Thank you for saving me," he says, and with those words, he turns and runs, disappearing into the woods as if shy about our kiss. I stay rooted in place, watching as his figure vanishes into the deep shadows. This can't possibly be real. It feels far too perfect and too magical, like something out of a fantasy. And if it is just a dream, then I swear to myself, right here and now, that I never, ever want to wake up. I fall back on the mattress, my body slick with sweat and limp with pleasure. I'm still recovering from the spasms of my powerful orgasm that continue to ripple through me, but Miles has already disentangled and distanced himself from me just seconds after our mutual release. His detachment every time we make love breaks me. Still, I turn to face him as he lies on his back, staring at the ceiling, panting. I want to touch him, but I already know he will pull away. He has done it for the past 18 months since our mating ceremony. I've finally learned that his coldness isn't going to change. He rises from the bed without sparing me a glance and begins to pull on his shorts. I know I'm not supposed to hope for after-sex talk or expect warm cuddles and lazy snuggles, but I can't help myself. Today is supposed to be the happiest day of my life, and I want him to remember that. "Miles," I call softly. He hums, still not bothering to look my way. "I want to know if you will be home early tonight. Why?" He stands now, tall and broad. His 6'9" frame is sculpted in the morning light. Still, he doesn't look at me. Sometimes I wonder if he refuses to meet my eyes because he feels like he is betraying Roxy every time he looks at me after our lovemaking. To Miles, I'm nothing but the desperate she-wolf who climbed into his bed on coronation night while he was drunk and took advantage of him. To him, I'm the girl who stole her sister's fate. He hates me for it. "It's my birthday," I say quietly. "I was wondering if—" "I won't be home tonight." He cuts me off. Don't wait up for me. He pauses. I won't be home tomorrow either. I swallow hard and blink back, the tears welling in my eyes. I know better than to ask where he is going. I sit up and draw my knees to my chest, wrapping my arms around my legs and resting my chin against them. I watch him walk into the ensuite bathroom, half naked, his back as rigid as his voice. He always bathes immediately after we make love, and I can't help but imagine that he is frantically scrubbing my scent and touch from his tan skin. I stay in bed long after he is gone, trying not to cry. I'm not going to cry on my birthday. Not again. I must have fallen asleep, because when I next open my eyes, it is midday. I finally push myself out of bed and walk to the bathroom. After my shower, I opt for a bright-colored flowery dress that will at least make me appear cheerful. I tie my hair and check my phone. A few birthday messages have come in. Not many. There are texts from Miles's parents, Alpha Yuri, and a few others. I sigh heavily, trying not to think too much about Miles' indifference or the fact that he still hasn't sent me a single message. I walk down the grand staircase and open the living room door, and I'm immediately startled by a sudden shout that makes me flinch. A small yelp escapes my lips. "Happy birthday, Luna!" A chorus of voices call out. Tears rise in my eyes as I scan the room. Miles's parents, a few staff, and some pack members are gathered around. Not many, but enough. At least someone still finds me worthy of being celebrated, even if the people who truly matter to me do not. I force a cheerful smile and walk into the room. Miles's mother, Lady Lisa, crosses the room and pulls me into her arms. She is the opposite of my real mother, soft, warm, always smelling like honey and lavender, always knowing exactly what to say to comfort me. "Rhea, sweet girl," she whispers, kissing my cheek. "Another year more beautiful, and another year of wisdom in that pretty head." She rubs my back gently, and her kindness seeps through my skin like warmth in winter. "We're the lucky ones to know you." Her words strike a nerve. I can only manage a small, grateful nod. Papa Dennis, Miles's father, gives a sheepish, lopsided grin and raises a glass of champagne. "To the Luna," he says. "May her days be filled with happiness, even if my son has the emotional IQ of a snowdrift." Everyone laughs politely. I try to laugh too, but it comes out tight and thin. The party limps along until dusk. The windows glow with fading light, and the laughter grows faint, thinning with each goodbye. The house returns to its usual quiet. The staff clear away the cake, the streamers, and the evidence that anyone ever wished me well. I'm left standing at the foot of the stairs, champagne glass in hand, staring at the front door. Half of me still expects Miles to walk in just to sneer at the mess or at me, but he doesn't. Later, after a long bath and a longer cry, I climb into bed and close my eyes. My phone vibrates on the nightstand. At first, I ignore it, assuming it's one of those pack group chats that still add Luna Mondragon to the tag for formality. But the vibration comes again. I reach for the phone. There is a message from a number I don't recognize. "Happy birthday, Luna. Thought you would want to see how Alpha Miles is celebrating." My thumb hovers over the play button as I hesitate. Then, finally, I click it. The file loads, and my chest tightens as the video begins. On the screen, Miles stands in a gilded room I don't recognize. His hair is artfully mussed, and his mouth is slanted in a half-smile I've never seen direct at me. Standing beside him, dressed in a velvet dress glowing with the intensity that only she can generate, is Roxy, the one he calls the love of his life, my twin sister. I feel my heart drop through the floor. The pain is so sharp and physical that I clutch my chest, squeezing tightly as if I can hold the hurt in place. Miles is celebrating with her, the only woman he will ever have eyes for. I sit alone at the long dining table. The staff have set out food for me. Toast, scrambled eggs, and a little fruit are arranged with funereal neatness on a white porcelain plate. I poke absently at the scrambled eggs with the edge of my fork, but the sight and smell of them churn something in my stomach. I'm not sure if I'm hungry or sick or just tired of pretending I'm okay. I take a slow sip of tea and push the cup and plate further away. My stomach growls in protest, but everything I try to eat tastes like ash. All that is in my memory is Miles with Roxy on her birthday yesterday. The pretty twin and the man who could never love anyone but her. He had left our home and traveled all the way to celebrate with her, while I was here, yearning for even a glance from him. It did not only hurt me, it broke me. I've loved that man since I first understood what that word meant. But he has never truly been mine. I stare at the fork in my hand and imagine driving it into my own thigh just to remind myself I am still here. Instead, I press it flat against the table and close my eyes, breathing shallowly. Roxy was given a 2-year ban from Snowfall Pack after she pushed me so hard I fell and lost my first child with Miles. The same child that forced Miles to mark and claim me as his mate and Luna. But both Mom and Miles claimed Roxy wasn't in her right frame of mind, that she went berserk when she heard Miles was taking me as Luna because I carried his child. She had abused drugs, lost control, and Miles had spent every second by her side, neglecting me. He even blamed me for making Roxy like that. After she pushed me down the stairs, Pa Dennis banned her from entering Snowfall for 2 years and sent her to rehab in another pack. That ban ruined whatever remained of my relationship with Mom. Everyone blamed me for taking advantage of Miles's drunken state and shamed me even more for stealing my sister's man. Because on the night of the awakening ceremony, Miles had publicly declared his intention to make Roxy his Luna. But Pa Dennis, the reigning alpha then and a firm believer in tradition, insisted that Miles take me as Luna instead. And that's how we ended up married. A sudden wave of nausea rises inside me, unexpected and fast. I drop the napkin and press a hand to my mouth, rising quickly from the chair. My feet move on instinct, carrying me up the stairs, one hand gripping the railing tightly. By the time I reach the bedroom, I'm barely holding it in. I rush straight to the bathroom, drop to my knees, and throw up everything I've managed to eat, or tried to eat this morning. My hair sticks to my face as I cough and spit into the sink. I rinse my mouth with trembling hands and sit on the edge of the tub for a moment, breathing hard. For a while, I do nothing. My body is spent, but my brain keeps whirring like a motor that refuses to shut off. I stare at the ceiling and wait for the shaking to stop. I have been like this for a few days now, eating very little and throwing out whatever enters my stomach. The sound of my phone ringing is so unexpected that I jolt upright, smacking my head against the sink beside me. It rings and rings. On the 4th pass, it goes silent, only to start up again immediately after. I rise, with my legs still weak and shaky, and stagger back to the room. The screen is lit up with Mother flashing on the screen. Mother? I can't remember the last time she called me. I didn't even know she had my number. I let it ring one more time, just to prove I can. Then, slide my thumb across the screen and press the phone to my ear, bracing myself. Hello? A voice that doesn't belong to Mom says, Am I speaking with Rhea Mondragon? Yes, you are. All right. I'm calling from Moonfall General Hospital. I'm calling in regard to your mother. She was involved in a rogue attack. My heart drops and I gasp as my hand flies to my mouth. I will be right there, I say quickly and end the call. Rose? Rose. I call the head servant through the mind link. Yes, Luna, she answers. Tell Holmes to get the car ready. We are going to Moonfall Pack immediately. Yes, Luna. Holmes opens the back seat door, and I step out. I don't hurry into the hospital because I don't feel enough panic. I've been thinking the entire drive here. What is Mom doing in Moonfall Pack? And why did the hospital call me instead of Roxy? I'm certain they speak more often. Why reach out to me? I walk into the reception and greet the nurse at the front desk. Hospitals always bring me a strange sense of peace. I admire the doctors and nurses. I admire their purpose and calm. Hi, I'm looking for a Lolita Chapman. I believe she was brought in here after a rogue attack. Relationship? The nurse asks. She is my mother, I say almost in a whisper. The word mother tastes like dust in my mouth. She nods, types into her computer, then looks up at me. Mrs. Lolita was brought in with another man. They were both unconscious, but unlike her, we found no ID or cell phone on him. They are both in the ER. Just go straight ahead and turn left. You will see the emergency doors. A frown creases my forehead, but I thank her and start to walk away. Then I pause. Has anyone else come for them yet? She shakes her head. Not yet. I called you first since you seem to be closer. I also called your sister, but she hasn't arrived. I exhale in relief. At least this gives me time to gather myself before Roxy shows up. I don't know what will happen when we see each other after 18 months of cutting off communication. Maybe we will glare each other down, or maybe we will put our differences aside long enough to make sure Mom is okay. I ask around and find out the man brought in with Mom was Uncle Marcus, her elder brother. That only deepens the questions in my mind. Why were they both in Moonfall Pack? I don't know how long I sit there in the waiting area, my fingers tapping on my knees and my foot bouncing against the floor. I'm not sad. Or at least, not as sad as I should be. These two people have never truly treated me like family. Roxy has always been their favorite. So no, I don't feel grief. I only feel obligated to be here. It's the right thing to do. Because she is my mother and because the man inside is her brother. They had clothed, sheltered, and fed me before I turned 18. I stand up and begin pacing the room. Different thoughts are running through my head, but the one that won't let go is the image of Miles and Roxy together. I wonder if he is still with her, if they are still celebrating, if they are coming here together. I try to shove the thoughts away when the waiting area door opens and Miles walks in, looking like a damn demigod in a sharp black suit. My breath catches in my throat and my eyes immediately dart behind him, searching for Roxy. But he is alone. Relief washes over me the moment I realize Miles came alone. I didn't even know I was holding my breath until now. I hadn't prepared myself for seeing Roxy with him. His eyes find mine across the waiting room, and for a moment, just one small moment, I forget that he doesn't love me, that his heart has never been mine, that yesterday, while I sat alone, surrounded by staff pretending to celebrate my birthday, he was with her. He strides toward me, all alpha confidence and sharp angles in his tailored suit. I've memorized every line of his face, every shift of his expression, and right now, there's something in his eyes I rarely see when he looks at me concern. "Hey," he says, his voice gentler than I've heard in months. "I came as soon as I heard. Are you all right?" The gentleness in his tone makes my chest ache. This is the Miles I fell in love with all those years ago by the river. Not the cold stranger who shares my bed, but never his heart. I just nod, not trusting my voice. Emotions clog my throat. Anger, hurt, confusion, and beneath it all, that stubborn, stupid love that refuses to die no matter how many times he kills it. I study his face, searching for signs of deception. Does he think I don't know where he was yesterday? Who he was with? He sits beside me, not touching me, but close enough that I catch his scent, that expensive cologne and something underneath that's just him. "Any news about your mother?" he asks, breaking the silence. "No," I manage to say. My voice sounds thin and strained. "They haven't told me anything yet. She was with Uncle Marcus when it happened." Miles nods, but his brow furrows. "Marcus? What were they doing in Moonfall Pack?" "I don't know." The anonymous video plays in my mind again. Miles smiling down at Roxy, his hand on the small of her back, her face tilted up to his. That smile he never gives me. I wonder how long he had been seeing her for. I've watched it so many times that it's burned into my memory, frame by agonizing frame. Miles doesn't offer more comfort. He doesn't put his arm around my shoulders, no hand holding mine, just his solid but distant presence beside me on the uncomfortable waiting room chair. I wonder if he is already itching to leave or to go back to her. The silence between us stretches, tight as a wire. I watch his fingers tap against his thigh, and he checks his phone once, twice, 3 times in the span of 5 minutes. His body angles slightly toward the door, as if his instincts are pulling him toward something or someone who isn't here yet. "You don't have to stay," I say finally. The words feel like glass in my mouth. "I know you're busy." His eyes flick to mine. There's a flash of surprise there, then something else I can't read. "I'm staying," he says firmly. "She is your mother. I should be here." He should be here, not because he wants to support me, his wife, his Luna, but because it's what's expected of him. The proper thing for an alpha to do. Always the perfect alpha on the outside. "Did she call you?" I ask before I can stop myself. Miles goes still. "Who?" "Roxy." The name burns on my tongue. "Did she call you about Mom?" He hesitates just a fraction too long. "Yes. She called me after the hospital called her." Of course she did. Roxy calls, and Miles comes running. Always. I wonder if she is the reason he is constantly checking his phone, if he is waiting for her next message, or her next command. I want to ask him about yesterday, about the video, about why he couldn't even send a text on my birthday but could travel to another pack to celebrate with my sister. But the words jam in my throat, tangled with all the other questions I've never had the courage to ask. Just then, the hospital door flings open with a bang that makes me flinch. And Roxy hurries in, a slightly different image of me, yet somehow always more. Her face is blotchy with tears, but somehow, she is still beautiful. Her designer clothes cling to her perfect figure, her hair artfully disheveled, as if she just stepped out of a photo shoot for distraught but gorgeous. My hand unconsciously moves to my hastily pulled back hair. "Miles!" she cries out. She doesn't even glance at me. Her eyes are locked on him like he is the only person in the room. Miles is on his feet instantly, abandoning my side without a second thought. He crosses the room in 3 quick strides, closing the distance between them as if he is pulled by an invisible force to catch Roxy as she practically falls into him. Then, he is enfolding her in his arms, drawing her against his chest, one hand cradling the back of her head. "Shh, it's okay. I'm here now," he murmurs into her hair, his voice thick with an emotion I've never heard directed at me. His hands stroke her back in slow, soothing motions, hands that never linger on my skin like that, hands that always seem in a hurry to be elsewhere. Roxy wraps her arms around his waist, burying her face in his chest, her body shaking with sobs that seem to come from somewhere deep inside her. She is really hurting. I have seen her feign distraught before, but she is genuinely broken by this news. After all, it was her 2 favorite people in there. "I was so scared," she whispers, loud enough for me to hear. "I didn't know what to do." I know, Miles soothes, his lips pressing against the top of her head. "But I'm here now. We will figure it out together." The fluorescent lights suddenly seem too bright, and the room feels too small. The antiseptic smell that clings to every hospital burns my nose. I want to stand, to walk away, to scream, to do anything but sit here and watch my husband comfort my sister with a tenderness he has never once shown me. But some masochistic part of me needs to see this, needs to remember what I'm fighting for and what I'll never have. I do not say a word. I just sit there, frozen in the same spot, watching the 2 of them as if I am not even in the same room. His hands move in slow circles on her back, pressing her closer. He never held me like that, even when I lost our baby. Seeing this feels like a knife between my ribs. The waiting room door swings open, and a doctor in green scrubs steps out. Her face is set in that careful, neutral expression they must teach in medical school, the one that gives nothing away until the words are actually spoken. "Family of Lolita Chapman?" she asks, her eyes sweeping over us. I rise from my chair at the same moment Roxy tears herself away from Miles. We approach the doctor together, not looking at each other. "I am her daughter," we say in unison, and I flinch at the sound of our voices. They are so similar, yet somehow, hers always seems to carry more weight. The doctor nods, her eyes flicking between us, registering our almost identical features. "Your mother is stable," she says. "She sustained multiple lacerations, a few broken ribs, and a concussion, but her vital signs are strong. We have sedated her for now, but she should make a full recovery." I let out a little sigh of relief. I am glad that she is fine. I would not know how to feel if it were any other news. "And my uncle?" Roxy asks, her voice breaking. "Marcus White?" The doctor's expression shifts subtly, and her careful, neutral mask slips just enough. "I am very sorry," she says quietly. "Mr. White suffered extensive injuries in the attack. We did everything we could, but he did not survive." The words hang in the air for a moment. I do not move. I blink once, twice. Roxy's breath hitches, and she lets out a raw, primal cry. It tears from her throat like something living and wounded. Her knees buckle, and Miles is there instantly, catching her before she falls, gathering her against him. Her sobs come in violent waves, shaking her entire body. "No, no, no," she keeps saying, the words muffled against Miles's chest. "Not Uncle Marcus. Please, no." Miles's face is a mask of pain, not his own, but hers. He absorbs her grief like it is his duty and his calling. His arms tighten around her, creating a fortress of his body, shielding her from the harsh hospital lights and curious eyes. His lips move against her temple, murmuring words I cannot hear, words that are not meant for me. I stand apart, feeling disconnected. I should feel something, should I not? This man was my uncle too, but all I can summon is a vague, distant sadness. The kind you might feel hearing about a stranger's tragedy on the news. I do not feel the gut-wrenching grief that shakes my sister's body. She knew his love. I only knew his judgment. The doctor is speaking again, saying something about arrangements and paperwork, but her voice fades in and out. Miles is nodding, one hand still cradling Roxy's head while the other reaches for the clipboard the doctor extends. My stomach churns, and that familiar wave of nausea hits me again. It rises from my stomach to my throat in one burning surge. I press a hand to my mouth, my other arm wrapping around my middle. Not here and not now. Neither of them notices as I back away. Of course they do not. I turn and walk quickly down the corridor, my vision tunneling, focusing only on the bathroom sign at the end of the hall. I push through the door, grateful to find the bathroom empty. The harsh fluorescent light flickers above me as I lurch into the nearest stall, slamming the door shut and twisting the lock with clumsy fingers. I barely make it to my knees before my stomach heaves. There is nothing to bring up but sour and burning bile. I retch anyway, as if my body is determined to purge something, grief, anger, or loneliness, I do not know. When it finally stops, I rest my forehead against the cool metal partition and close my eyes, breathing in shallow gasps. Then the tears hit me all at once, not grief for Uncle Marcus, but for myself, for the girl who once saved a drowning boy and believed in fairy tales, for every moment spent alone, for every night lying beside a man who wished I was someone else, for every moment of the last 5 years spent chasing a ghost of what might have been. Uncle Marcus's funeral arrangements go into full swing after Mom becomes conscious. I do not bother joining the burial arrangements. I felt too sick to join. I arrive at my uncle's funeral reception late, 3 days later. I skipped the sad service at the graveyard. I could not stand in a line and listen to people say kind words about a man who was never kind to me. I push open the heavy oak door, stepping into the crowded living room in heels that click too loudly against the hardwood floor. Everyone is dressed in black. I am dressed in black too, but my version is different. My black dress is too tight and a tad too short. My lips are painted a deep red matte, my eyes lined with dark kohl. My earrings shimmer slightly when I move. It is a shield and a silent rebellion. If I am going to feel like a ghost in this family, I might as well dress like a ghost worth remembering. Heads turn as I walk in, and eyes trail after me. The room hushes slightly, conversations falter before resuming at a lower volume. I scan the sea of black suits and dresses, meeting stares head-on until they drop their gaze first. Most of these people have whispered about me for years. The less pretty twin, the one who trapped Miles, the unworthy Luna. Today, I am giving them something new to talk about. My mother sits in a wheelchair near the fireplace, her face pale and drawn, her right arm in a cast. She looks somehow small and diminished. When she sees me, her expression hardens. "You are late," she says as I approach. "And dressed like that? This is a funeral, Rhea, not a fashion show. Have you no respect?" I meet her eyes steadily. "Hello to you too, Mom. How are you feeling?" She ignores my question. "Why were you not at the cemetery? Your sister was devastated, and you could not even bother to show up?" "I had pack business." I lie smoothly. The truth is, I could not stomach watching Roxy's performance. I could not bear to see Miles comforting her while I stood alone in the background like the dutiful, invisible wife. Mom's lips thin. "Business more important than family? We have different definitions of family," I say quietly. Her face flushes, but before she can respond, Miles appears at her side, one hand resting lightly on the back of her wheelchair. "Mrs. Chapman, can I get you anything?" he asks in a gentle voice. Then, he looks at me with a quick, assessing look. "Rhea, you made it." His tone is carefully neutral, not pleased or disappointed, just acknowledging my existence. He is wearing a perfectly tailored black suit that makes his shoulders look broader and his waist narrower. I hate how my heart still skips at the sight of him. "I would not miss it," I say, the lie bitter on my tongue. Miles nods, then turns back to my mother, saying something about making sure she is comfortable. Then he looks at me again. "Do you need a drink, Rhea?" I shake my head with a practiced smile. He nods as an elder approaches him. He talks to the elder, nodding politely, but his eyes keep darting between Roxy and me. As soon as the elder claps his shoulder and walks off, Miles turns to me. "Are you okay?" he asks, his voice low. I nod, but before I can say more, he glances away as Roxy waves at him from across the room. Miles shifts his weight from one foot to the other. His eyes flick to the untouched food on the long table, and without asking, he grabs a small plate, scoops a few things onto it, and hands it to me. "You should eat something," he says. "I am not hungry," I say quietly. "Thanks for looking out." He nods and stands awkwardly beside me for a few minutes. Then, his eyes drift across the room to where Roxy stands, now surrounded by a circle of sympathetic faces, and something in his expression softens. I turn away, unable to watch. For 3 days, I have barely seen him. He has been at the hospital, at the funeral home, at Roxy's side, anywhere else, except by my side. I have spent the time applying to pack colleges, desperate for something, anything to fill the emptiness, to give me purpose beyond being the unwanted wife of an alpha who loves my sister. I make my way to the drinks table and pour myself a generous glass of whiskey, downing half of it in one burning swallow. When I look up, Miles is beside Roxy again. His hand is on the small of her back, leaning down to whisper something in her ear. She nods, brushes a tear away, and leans into him just slightly. It is subtle, nothing inappropriate, just a brother-in-law comforting his sister-in-law. But I know better. Everyone knows better. I retreat to a quiet corner of the room, nursing my drink, watching the performance of grief around me. Some are genuine, while some are practiced. Uncle Marcus was well respected in the pack. He was wealthy and influential. Alpha Dennis's head gamma in his time. Hiding in the corner at your own uncle's funeral? Classy. The voice slides over me like ice water. I do not need to turn to know who it is, but I do anyway, facing my sister with what I hope is a blank expression. Roxy looks beautiful even in grief. Her black dress is elegant and tasteful. Her makeup is minimal but perfect, highlighting the red rims of her eyes. Evidence of sincere tears. What do you want? I ask, my voice low. Her lips curve into a smile that does not reach her eyes. Just checking on my dear sister. You know, the one who could not be bothered to come to the cemetery. I take another sip of my drink. I am sure you handled the grieving daughter role well enough for both of us. Jealousy does not suit you, Rhea. She steps closer, her voice dropping to a venomous whisper. Even after I left Miles for nearly 2 years, you still could not make him look at you. Not the way he looks at me. My grip tightens on my glass. He is my husband, and? Her smile widens, cruel and confident. A piece of paper does not change where his heart lies. You have had him all to yourself for years, and he still comes running the moment I call. The whiskey burns in my empty stomach. Her words are poison darts, and each one is finding its mark. Every insecurity, every fear I have nursed in the dark of our bedroom while Miles sleeps with his back to me. She gives them voice, makes them real. You do not know what you are talking about, I say, but my voice shakes. He looks at me every night when he is in my bed, Roxy. The bed you will never be in. Her smug expression falters. You are pathetic, Rhea. Forcing him to stay with you because of a child you could not even keep. Something inside me snaps, like a dam breaking and flooding me with years of hurt and rage and humiliation. Shut up, I hiss, but she does not. Why would I? She shrugs. You already turned this funeral into your personal runway show. And you wore all that. She gestures lazily to my outfit, hoping he will see you for once. At least I did not have to drug myself into madness to get a man to pity me, I hiss, stepping toward her. She gasps, eyes widening, but she recovers almost immediately. Oh, really? But who owns his attention now, huh? Was he at your side on your birthday? Where did you think he was? Have you been wondering where he is for the past 3 days? Even your bastard baby could not keep him to you. I said, shut up! My voice rises, louder than I intended. Or what? She taunts, eyes gleaming. What will you do, Rhea? Go cry to your husband? Oh, wait, he is too busy holding me while I mourn our uncle. The uncle who loved me, not you. I throw my drink in her face. You bitch! I scream, and the room falls silent. You are the one who killed my baby. You pushed me. You did this. You are a liar and a thief. I take a step toward her. You stole my life. You stole him from me. Rhea. Miles's horrified voice cuts through my tirade. He rushes over, his face a mask of shock and anger. Roxy's expression morphs from shock to calculated hurt, tears welling in her eyes as she steps back. How could you? She whispers, just loud enough for those nearby to hear. At Uncle Marcus's funeral, the room blurs around me as people stare, and whispers ripple outward like waves. Someone gasps, and someone else makes a disapproving click with their tongue, and then Miles is there in an instant. What the hell is wrong with you? He demands. But he is looking at me, not Roxy. Always at me, never at her. Roxy collapses against him, sobbing prettily. I just wanted to make sure she was okay, she cries. And she attacked me. Miles wraps his arm around her, shielding her, his eyes never leaving mine. There is disgust there, disappointment, and shame. I stand frozen with the dripping glass still in my hand, as the full weight of what I have done crashes down on me. I have played right into her hands. Created exactly the scene she wanted. Proven to everyone and to Miles. that I am exactly what they think I am. Bitter, jealous, and unworthy. Miles storms into our bedroom, and I trail behind him like a ghost. Once the heavy wooden door shuts behind us, he turns to me. "I want a divorce," he says. I stop in my tracks as the floor sways beneath my feet. My hand trembles at my side, and I clutch the edge of the dresser, needing something solid to hold on to. My chest rises and falls in slow disbelief as my heart crashes into my ribs. I can't breathe. I can't think. All I can do is stand there, trapped in this nightmare I've been dreading since the day he marked me. The words hang in the air between us. They are 3 words, simple and clear, but also very devastating. "Did you hear me?" Miles asks, his voice hard. "I said I want a divorce." "I heard you," I whisper. He runs a hand through his hair and starts pacing. "I can't do this anymore, Rhea. I'm tired of walking on eggshells. I'm tired of your insecurities and jealousy. This marriage, it's not working." "Miles," I begin, but he cuts me off with a sharp gesture. "No, no more excuses. We've been pretending for too long." He stops and looks at me, really looks at me, for what feels like the first time in years. There is no child between us anymore. There is no reason for us to stay in this marriage. The cruel reminder of our lost baby hits me like a physical punch to the stomach. I wrap my arms around my middle, trying to hold myself together. "I'm only 21, Rhea," he says slowly, like he is explaining something to a child. "I should be enjoying my life, not trapped in a loveless marriage that drains the life out of me." I blink at him, my lips parting. "So that's it? I've already had the papers drawn up," he adds, his voice cold enough to freeze my blood. "It was one fight, Miles," I scream, finally finding my voice as tears rush down my cheeks. "Roxy pushed me," she said vile things. "Why can't you ever believe what I say?" But he lifts his hand in a sharp motion. Don't make this about Roxy." "Oh, really?" I take a step forward, fire rushing up my throat. My legs feel like they might give out at any moment. "Then what was my birthday, Miles? What were the last 3 days? You held her like your world was ending. You spent our birthday with her. You didn't even send me a message." Something flickers across his face, guilt, maybe, but it's gone in an instant, replaced by his usual cold mask. "Roxy was hurting," he mutters. "She was scared. Her uncle just—" "Our uncle," I snap, stepping even closer. "He was my uncle, too." My voice rises with each word, but no one cares about that, do they? No one cares that I lost him, too, that I lost everything. "Enough!" Miles slams his hand down on the dresser, and I flinch. "You know very well that I can't be attacked without being provoked," I say, ignoring his command for me to stop speaking. "She said something to me. She taunted me about you, about our baby. Stop it." Miles cuts me off again, his voice sharp as a blade. "Just stop. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Everything is always someone else's fault. Roxy's fault, my fault, but never yours." "That's not true," I protest, but even to my own ears, it sounds weak. "Isn't it?" He takes a step toward me, and the moonlight catches half his face, leaving the other half in shadow. "What the fuck are you trying to do right now?" He takes another step closer, towering over me. "You knew from the beginning that it was Roxy I loved. You knew, and you still—" He stops, his mouth twisting with something like disgust. My breath catches, and dread pools in my stomach. "If you hadn't fucking whored yourself into my bed on that night of my coronation, we wouldn't all be here." My palm connects with his cheek before I even realize I've moved. The sound of the slap echoes in the quiet room, sharp and final. It's the first time I've ever struck him. His head jerks to the side, a red mark blooming on his perfect face. "Fuck you, Miles," I cry, lunging at him. "I didn't climb into your bed. We were both drunk. You fucking made the move on me." I hit his chest with my fists, once, twice, again, and again. The blows make dull, soft thuds against his hard body. They don't hurt him. They are weak and pathetic. "I hate you," I choke out. "I hate you. I hate you for everything. I hate that I loved you, that I stayed, that I ever believed." He suddenly grabs my wrists, holding them firmly, but not painfully. His arms wrap around me, crushing me against his chest. I struggle, but he is too strong. I'm trapped against him, my face pressed to his shirt. The familiar scent of him, that scent I've breathed in every night for years, fills my nose. "Rhea, I'm sorry," he whispers against my hair. "I shouldn't have said that. I didn't mean it, Rhea. I didn't mean it. I go rigid in his embrace, shocked by this sudden affection after his cruelty. But I don't want his pity. I don't want these scraps of kindness that he tosses my way when guilt overtakes him. I push against his chest, hard, and he releases me. I stumble back, putting distance between us. My face is wet with tears and my form trembles with my sobs. Get out, I say, my voice hoarse but determined. Just get out. Miles takes a step toward me, one hand outstretched. Rhea, no. I cut him off, wiping angrily at my face. Go. You want the divorce? Fine. I will sign your papers. I take a shaky breath, my heart hammering against my ribs. But not now. I'll sign them after the Interpack festivals. In 1 week, I need time to prepare for all this. What I don't say is that I need time to prepare for the humiliation, for everyone to know that Miles is finally leaving me for Roxy, just as they have all expected. Miles hesitates, then nods tersely. Fine, after the festivals. But Evans will bring the papers tomorrow. Sign them whenever you're ready. Of course. He can't even wait a week without making sure there is a way out if I suddenly agree sooner. I move to the door and yank it open, gesturing for him to leave. Go, I say. Now. He looks at me for a long moment, and I think I see something like regret in his eyes. But it doesn't matter anymore. Nothing matters. He takes a step towards me. Rhea, List, just get out. Leave me alone, I say, and push him toward the door. He lets me, his body stiff as he walks backward. As soon as he is on the threshold, I shove him out into the hallway and slam the door shut. The sound echoes through the bedroom like a death knell. For a moment, I stand there, my palm flat against the door, as if I could push away the reality of what just happened. Then my strength leaves me all at once, my legs give out, and I slide down to the floor, my back against the door. And then, I break. I stare out the tinted window as Holmes drives up the long, winding driveway to the pack house. The trees blur into a green smear, but I'm not really seeing them. All I can hear is the doctor's voice, playing on repeat like a broken record in my head. Congratulations, Luna. You are 4 weeks gone. 4 weeks. 1 month. A tiny, fragile life is growing inside me while everything else in my world collapses. My hand drifts to my still flat stomach, and my fingers splay across it before I catch myself and pull away. The motion feels dangerous, like acknowledging what is happening might make it more real. But it's already real. There is a baby, Miles's baby, growing inside me, and I have no idea what to do about it. You will need to come back in 2 weeks for another checkup, the doctor had said, her smile too bright, too oblivious to the storm raging inside me. Everything looks perfect so far. Perfect. Nothing about this is perfect. Miles wants a divorce. He made that crystal clear. I'm only 21, he had said. I should be enjoying my life, not trapped in a loveless marriage. And now I'm carrying his child. A child he explicitly told me he wasn't ready for. A child that will tie us together even as he is desperate to break free. I close my eyes, pressing my fingertips against my temples. What am I going to do? Keep it? Tell him? The festivals will last a week, and I promise to sign the divorce papers after. By then, I will be another week pregnant with the child of a man who loathes me. Doctor, Harrow, I had whispered just before leaving her office. I would appreciate your discretion about this. Her eyes had softened with understanding, or maybe even pity. Of course, Luna. Patient confidentiality is sacred to me, but we both know how pack dynamics work. Secrets have a way of slithering through cracks, especially when they involve the alpha and his Luna. Werewolves have keen noses. It won't be long before someone catches the change in my scent. Luna? Luna Rhea? Holmes's voice filters through my thoughts, startling me. He has turned in his seat, looking at me with concern creasing his weathered face. I'm sorry. I blink, realizing we've stopped moving. What did you say? We've arrived, Luna. Are you feeling well? You look pale. I force a smile that feels brittle on my face. I'm fine, just tired. Thank you, Holmes. As I step out of the car, the grand mansion looms before me, all stone and glass and sharp angles. Once, I had thought it beautiful and intimidating in its elegance. Now it just feels like an elaborate prison, holding memories of Miles's coldness, of nights spent alone while he was thinking about Roxy, of a love that was never returned. I take a deep breath and start walking toward the entrance, my heels clicking against the cobblestone path. My mind races with the thought of the life growing inside me. A boy with Miles's gray eyes, a girl with my blonde hair, a child who will grow up knowing their father never loved their mother? A sudden blast of a car horn jerks me from my thoughts. I flinch violently, and my body reacts before my mind can catch up. My heel catches on an uneven stone, and I feel myself pitching forward. The world tilts, and I throw my hands out instinctively. But it's too late. I'm falling. I brace for impact, but it never comes. Instead, strong arms catch me, pulling me back from disaster. For one wild, foolish moment, I think it's Miles. But the scent is all wrong. Cedar and night air instead of Miles's sandalwood and spice. "Careful there, Rhea," a deep voice says. Amusement warming the words. I look up into Alpha Yuri Donovich's face, and my breath catches. He is smiling down at me, his dark eyes glinting with concern beneath his long lashes. He is too close, and I suddenly feel self-conscious, aware of how my body must look. Exhausted, stressed, and possibly still smelling of antiseptic from the clinic. "Alpha Yuri," I stammer, trying to regain my composure. "I didn't know you were arriving today." He helps me straighten up, but his hand remains at my elbow, steadying me. "Just got in. Thought I would surprise everyone." He tilts his head, studying me. "Are you hurt? That was quite a fall you almost took." Alpha Yuri Donovich is the Alpha of Silverstone Pack. He was sent here on exchange to train and learn when he was 16. The exchange program was designed to bring peace among the packs in our region. It is a long-standing tradition. Every future Alpha is sent off at 16 to train with another pack, learn their ways, adjust to new changes, and hopefully forge connections that might prevent future wars. They spend 4 years in another pack before returning to take on their responsibilities. He was the only one nice to me during those years I waited for Miles to return, and only he knew the truth about my necklace, which Roxy stole and claimed my identity. He tried to fight for me, but he had a really short time to stay before going back to his own pack. "No, I'm fine," I say too quickly, smoothing down my dress with trembling hands. "Just clumsy. Thank you for catching me." "Never clumsy," he says, his eyes suddenly serious. "Just distracted. Something on your mind, Luna?" A hysterical laugh nearly bubbles up my throat. Something on my mind? Only the tiny life growing inside me, the husband who wants to leave me, the sister who hates me, and now the Alpha of Silverstone Pack standing too close, watching me too carefully. "Nothing important," I lie, forcing another smile. "Just pack business. The festivals are in a few days, and there's still so much to prepare." Yuri's eyes narrow slightly, and I remember too late that he has always been able to tell when I'm not being entirely truthful. But he doesn't call me out on it. He just offers his arm instead. "Allow me to escort you inside," he says. I was heading to the West Wing anyway. Miles's point of view. I tap my pen against the polished surface of the conference table, watching my staff squirm under my gaze. "The Silverstone Alpha arrived today," I say, my voice cutting through the silence. "I expect every protocol to be followed to the letter. No exceptions." The words come out sharper than intended, and I notice Evans shoot Rico a quick glance. I ignore it. I've been on edge all morning, and I can't pinpoint why. Or rather, I refuse to acknowledge why. Her face keeps flashing in my mind. Wounded eyes, trembling lips, the sound of her body sliding down the door after I told her I wanted a divorce. "Alpha, we've already prepared the blue suite as requested," my head of hospitality says, her voice careful. "Fresh linens, the special soaps from the Northern Lands packs, and the ceremonial welcome basket." I nod curtly. "Good. What about security?" I turn to my head Gamma. "I want extra patrols during the festivals, doubled at night." As he starts outlining the security rotations, my mind drifts again. Rhea's face swims before me, pale and drawn as she stood in our bedroom 3 nights ago. The crack in her voice when she told me to get out. The red mark on my cheek where she slapped me. It was the first time she has ever struck back. I deserved it. I know I did. The words I said to her were unforgivable, even in anger. "And we've arranged for the visiting Alphas to have personal escorts at all times," someone is saying. I blink, forcing myself back to the present. "What?" I ask, sharper than necessary. The Gamma falters. "Personal escorts, sir. For the visiting Alphas, as is traditional." "Right." I nod, trying to focus. "Make sure they are our best warriors, no young pups trying to show off." A memory flashes. Rhea on our first night together, shy and uncertain but so eager to please. The way she had looked at me like I hung the moon. the gentle way she had touched me and whispered my name. I had been drunk, yes, but not too drunk to remember that tenderness, so different from Roxy's seduction. I shake my head, angry at myself. What the fuck is wrong with me? 18 months of loathing her for trapping me in this marriage, and now I can't stop thinking about her. About how small she looked when I demanded the divorce. About how she didn't even fight me, just asked for time until after the festivals. Alpha? Evans's voice breaks through my thoughts. The menu for the welcome feast? Yes, I say, trying to sound decisive. My fingers drum against the table, a nervous habit I thought I had broken years ago. Whatever the head chef recommends, but make sure there are options for the northern land packs. They don't eat red meat. My mind wanders again, and this time I don't fight it. I remember the night of my coronation, how the world had spun around me, the taste of whiskey heavy on my tongue. I had stumbled into my room, but it was dark, and I was too drunk to notice the different scent. There had been a figure in the bedroom, and in my inebriated state, I had thought it was Roxy. I had reached for her, and she had reached back. Only in the morning, with sunlight streaming through the windows, did I realize my mistake. Rhea, not Roxy, lay beside me, her hair spread across my pillow, her skin marked with my teeth. The horror of that moment still lives in me. The realization that I had claimed the wrong sister, that I had betrayed Roxy with her own twin, even though the said twin was my true mate. And the gift bags for the delegations are ready, the events coordinator is saying, each customized for their pack's preferences. I realize I've missed half the conversation. Good, I say, hoping it's an appropriate response. I look down at my notes, but the words swim before my eyes. I can't concentrate. Not when all I can think about is Rhea. My pen snaps between my fingers, and everyone at the table goes still. That will be all for now, I say, rising abruptly. Evans, Rico, stay behind. The rest of you are dismissed. They file out quickly, not meeting my eyes. The door clicks shut, leaving just the three of us in the suddenly too quiet room. What the hell is going on with you? Rico asks, never one to mince words. You look like you're about to shift and tear someone's throat out. Nothing, I growl. I'm fine. Evans gives me a long, measured look. Is this about the divorce? He asks quietly. Or about Alpha Yuri arriving early? My head snaps up. What does Yuri have to do with anything? Rico and Evans exchange a glance. Nothing, Evans says quickly. Just that he is here a day early, and you seem tense. I ignore the comment. I need you both to handle the welfare check on the western parts. Make sure they have enough food stores for winter. Now? Rico asks, eyebrow raised. In the middle of festival preparations? Yes, now, I snap. It shouldn't take more than a day. You can be back tomorrow evening. Another look passes between them, but they know better than to argue. All right, Evans says. We will leave right away. After they leave, I walk to the window, staring out at the grounds below. The western wing of the mansion is visible from here, its stone facade bathed in afternoon sunlight. Movement catches my eye, a flash of blonde hair, a familiar figure walking along the path. It's Rhea. Okay, now I'm going to be seeing her everywhere too. But she is not alone. Yuri Donovich is with her, and his tall frame is bent slightly toward her as if hanging on her every word. As I watch, he catches her by the elbow, steadying her. She looks up at him, and even from this distance, I can see the smile that crosses her face, small and fragile, but real. A smile. Have I ever seen her smile at me? Something hot and violent surges through me, a possessive rage I have no right to feel. I watch as Yuri offers her his arm, and she takes it after a moment's hesitation. They walk together toward the west wing entrance, their heads bent close in conversation. She laughs at something he says. She actually laughs. And the sound carries faintly through the glass. My jaw clenches so hard I feel a molar creak in protest. A vein pulses at my temple, and my hands curl into fists at my sides. I hate this feeling. I hate that I care. I hate that after everything. After telling her I want a divorce, after spending 18 months making her feel unwanted, I can't stand the sight of her smiling at another man. I move to my desk in 3 long strides, snatching up my phone. My fingers grip it so tightly my knuckles turn white. I practically punch the phone screen as I type, my eyes never leaving the sight of Rhea and Yuri disappearing into the west wing. RHEA's point of view. The gardens have changed, Alpha Yuri says, gesturing toward a glass door that leads to a small, enclosed courtyard. Is that new? I am now following Yuri through the western wing corridor after I have rested and changed into something simpler. He navigates the hallways with the confidence of someone who once called this place home, and I find myself relaxing for the first time in days. Miles won't look for me here. Not with visiting dignitaries arriving and the festival preparations consuming everyone's attention. To get my mind off things, I decide to take Alpha Yuri's offer of spending some time together and catching up. Alpha Dennis had it redesigned last summer, I reply. It's one of the few places that stays quiet, even during festivals. Sounds perfect, he says with a nod. The courtyard is a hidden gem within the pack house. Stone benches are nestled among carefully tended blue hydrangeas and climbing jasmine. The late afternoon sun filters through an ancient oak tree, casting dappled shadows across the flagstones. I lead him to a bench in the far corner, partially hidden by a trellis of climbing roses. So, I say, smoothing my dress over my knees as we sit. Silverstone Pack. How does it feel to be Alpha now? Yuri laughs, but it sounds weary. Exhausting. Rewarding. Lonely. His shoulders rise and fall in a small shrug. Everything my father warned me it would be. I study his profile. The strong jaw, the straight nose, the dark eyes that seem to notice everything. He has changed since his training days here. There is a new weight to him, a gravity that comes with responsibility. And you? He asks. How does it feel to be Luna of Snowfall? How does it feel? Like wearing someone else's skin. Like drowning slowly while everyone watches. Like loving a man who looks through you. I search for a word that isn't a lie but doesn't reveal too much. Challenging. I heard about your loss, he says quietly. I'm sorry I couldn't be here. The mention of my miscarriage sends a familiar ache through my body. I press my palm flat against my stomach, a gesture that has become habit. Now there is another life there, unknown to anyone but me. Thank you, I whisper. It was a long time ago, 18 months, and the pain still feels fresh some days. And you? I ask, needing to shift the focus away from myself. How are you coping? I heard about Maria. I'm so sorry. His face shifts, pain flashing across his features before he schools them back to neutrality. He looks down at his hands. Some days are better than others, he says, his voice low and rough. It's been over a year, but sometimes it feels like yesterday. I reach out, hesitating for just a moment before placing my hand over his. His skin is warm, his knuckles rough under my fingers. Tell me about her, if you want to. Yuri's eyes meet mine, surprise flickering through them. Then something softens in his expression. She was fire, he says, quick to anger, quick to forgive. She would curse me out for leaving my boots in the hallway, then bring me coffee an hour later like nothing happened. I smile, picturing this woman I never met who clearly left such a mark on him. She was pregnant, he continues, his voice dropping lower. 7 months along when the complications started. The pack doctors said her blood pressure was too high. They tried everything. My heart clenches for him, for the life lost, for the child who never drew breath. I was in the room, he says, looking away. His voice cracks slightly. I held her hand while she... He stops, swallowing hard. While she fought, she was so strong, right until the end. And the baby? I ask gently. A boy. Yuri's fingers curl around mine, squeezing slightly. They tried to save him, but he was too small, too early. I held him once. He had her nose. I feel tears welling up and don't try to stop them. I'm so sorry, Yuri. The worst part, he says, meeting my eyes again, is that everyone expects me to find another mate, to try again, as if she was replaceable, as if my son was just a failed attempt. People can be cruel when they think they are being helpful, I murmur. Exactly. He shakes his head. My counsel keeps pushing potential Lunas at me, girls barely out of their awakening ceremonies. I squeeze his hand. You don't have to do anything you're not ready for. I know. But the pack needs an heir. And I. He stops, as my phone buzzes loudly against the stone bench. I glance down to see Miles's name lighting up the screen. I decline the call, pushing the button on the side of the phone to put it on silent, and offer Yuri an apologetic smile. Important? He asks. No, I say firmly. Not at all. Please, continue. Yuri eyes the phone but doesn't press. As I was saying, the pack needs an heir, but I'm not sure I can. The phone buzzes again, and then again in quick succession, 3 text messages in a row. I ignore them all, keeping my attention fixed on Yuri. I understand, I say. The pressure to continue the bloodline is intense, but you deserve to heal first. He nods, looking grateful for the understanding. Enough about my troubles. Tell me about what you planned for these festivals. I hear the Luna's chosen games are the highlight of the season. My phone vibrates again with a text this time. Where are you? I ignore it. Another call comes through. I decline it again. Another text. Answer your fucking phone, Rhea. We shift to safer topics. The upcoming games, the traditional dances, the games that will bring all the Eastern region packs together. My phone continues to light up periodically with Miles's name flashing like a warning signal. I turn it face down again and again. I can't seem to understand why he is suddenly calling and texting me like a maniac. When I woke up from sleep earlier, I had seen missed calls from him that I hadn't bothered to return. It's not possible that he suddenly cares about my welfare. Yuri tells me about Silverstone's mountain territories, about the new trading routes he has established with the northern region, about the school he is building for young wolves who haven't yet had their first shift. His voice grows animated as he describes his vision for the future, and I find myself smiling. A real smile. Not the brittle Luna mask I've worn for months. You should visit sometime, he says, then immediately looks regretful. I mean, when things are less hectic with you. My phone buzzes again. 6 missed calls now. 10 text messages. All from Miles. Where are you? Answer your damn phone. Rhea, now. Each one was more demanding than the last. I feel a twisted satisfaction in ignoring them, in making him wait, in exercising this small power when he has stripped me of so much else. I should probably go, I say reluctantly. The staff will be looking for me soon. There is still so much to prepare before the opening ceremony. Yuri nods, standing and offering me his hand. I take it, allowing him to pull me to my feet. Thank you for this, he says. It's been a long time since I've talked to someone who actually listens. Anytime, I say, meaning it. Really, Yuri, anytime. He walks me to the door of the western wing before we part ways. Will I see you at breakfast? He asks. Yes, I'll be there. I hesitate, then add. It's good to have you here, Yuri. The festival will be better for it. He smiles, a genuine warmth reaching his eyes. Good night, Luna Rhea. Good night, Alpha Yuri. I watch him walk away, his tall frame moving with easy confidence down the corridor. Only when he turns the corner do I finally check my phone. 22 notifications now. The last text from Miles is simply, bedroom, now. My heart races, but not with anticipation, with dread. I consider ignoring him again and finding some pack business to attend to, but I know it will only make things worse. With a deep breath, I make my way toward our suite. The bedroom is dimly lit when I enter, just a single lamp casting long shadows across the bed. Miles is standing by the window, his back to me, his shoulders rigid with tension. He doesn't turn when I close the door behind me. Why the hell didn't you answer or return my calls and texts? He asks, his voice deceptively calm. I try to appear calm and nonchalant. I was busy, I reply, keeping my tone light, disinterested. I move to the dresser, setting my phone down, and start to remove my earrings. Miles turns then, his gray eyes stormy. Busy doing what? He presses, taking a step toward me. Busy with Yuri Donovich? What were you discussing with him that was so important you couldn't answer your phone? I meet his gaze in the mirror, my own anger starting to simmer. Why do you care? You made it very clear you want nothing to do with me. I turn to face him, crossing my arms over my chest. And why are you here anyway? What are you doing in this bedroom? He hasn't slept here since serving me divorce papers. It's my bedroom and I'll come and go when I please, he snaps, moving closer. This is still my house, and you are still my Luna until those papers are signed. How convenient for you. I walk toward the bathroom, desperate to put space between us. I need to wash the day and his anger off my skin. I'm going to shower. Feel free to leave before I'm done. I can feel him watching me as I gather my nightclothes. My hands tremble slightly, and I curl them into fists to hide the weakness. We're not finished talking, Miles says. I am. I close the bathroom door behind me and twist the lock. The hot water helps wash away some of the tension, but my mind keeps racing. Why is Miles suddenly so interested in who I talk to? Why does he care if I answer his calls when he has made it crystal clear our marriage is over? He hardly ever calls me, that sometimes I wonder if my number is saved in his phone. The few times he had called or texted in the course of our marriage, it was always concerning pack matters. Nothing personal or possessive. Is it just his alpha control, his need to know everything that happens in his territory? Or is it something else? When I emerge from the bathroom, dressed in a silk nightgown, Miles is still there, sitting on the edge of the bed. He has removed his suit jacket and tie, and his white shirt is unbuttoned at the collar, revealing the strong column of his throat. I grab a pillow from the bed and turn toward the door. "Where the fuck are you going?" he asks sharply. "The room is yours tonight. I'll sleep elsewhere." Miles is on his feet instantly. "What?" I stop, clutching the pillow to my chest like a shield. "I'm giving you the room," I say calmly. "We're divorcing anyway. There's no need for us to share a bed. We sleep in the same bed until the divorce is official," he says, his voice low and dangerous, his eyes blazing with a dark, possessive light. "That's how this works." "No, Miles, that's not how this works at all." I move toward the door, but he is faster, blocking my path with his body. "Move," I say, my voice shaking slightly despite my efforts to sound strong. Instead of moving, Miles reaches behind him and twists the lock. He pulls the key out and slips it into his pocket, his eyes never leaving mine. I take a sharp breath. "What are you doing?" "Making sure we finish this conversation," he says, his face just inches from mine. "There is nothing to finish," I hiss, trying to push past him. "You want a divorce. I've agreed to sign the papers. What else is there?" He catches my wrist, his grip firm but not painful. "You and Yuri. What were you talking about for so long?" "His dead mate," I snap, pulling against his hold. "His dead child. Is that what you wanted to hear?" "We were sharing our grief, Miles. Something you wouldn't understand since you've never loved anyone but yourself and Roxy." Something flashes in his eyes, hurt, maybe, or anger. "You don't know what I feel." "I know exactly what you feel," I say, my voice rising. "Nothing. You feel nothing for me. You've made that abundantly clear for the last 18 months. I know I'm throwing a tantrum now, but I can't help myself. Even though Miles had promised me I was going to be in this marriage all by myself on our mating ceremony, I had hoped with time he would come to love and accept me. But how wrong I was. Miles moves so suddenly that I gasp. He lifts me off the ground, as if I weigh nothing. One arm goes under my knees and the other around my back. I let out a small cry of surprise as he carries me. I struggle against him, but it's useless. He is too strong, and his arms feel like iron bands around me. "Put me down," I demand, pushing against his chest. He carries me to the bed and lays me down, his body following mine, pinning me with his weight. Before I can protest further, his mouth is on my neck, his lips tracing a hot path from my collarbone to my jaw. I catch the whiff of alcohol in his breath, and my heart races as I wonder if he is finally going to kiss me. Miles had never kissed my lips since we got married. After that one-night stand that caused everything, Miles loathed me so much that he can't even bring himself to kiss me, even when we make love. "Miles, stop it," I say, but my voice lacks conviction. My body, the traitor, is already responding to his touch, heat pooling low in my belly. "You fucking smell like him," he growls, his teeth grazing my earlobe. "Why were you with him?" "Nothing important," I breathe. I can feel his erection throbbing against my stomach and know he wants this as desperately as I do. "This is the only time you're honest with me," he murmurs against my skin. "When I'm touching you like this, when there is nothing between us." I turn my face away. There is nothing between us either way. His hand catches my chin, turning me back to face him. "Liar," he whispers, and then his mouth is on mine, hard and demanding. I freeze for the shortest second as his tongue explores my mouth. The butterflies flutter frantically in my abdomen, but I attempt to fight one last time. I push against his chest, my hands fisted in his shirt, but my resistance is weakening. It has always been like this. No matter how much I hate him in my mind, my body remembers his touch, craves it, and responds to it with embarrassing eagerness. Miles's hands move under my nightgown, his palms rough against my thigh. "Tell me to stop," he says against my lips. "Tell me you don't want this." I should say it. I should push him away and mean it. But the words stick in my throat as his hands move higher, as his mouth finds that sensitive spot below my ear. My breathing quickens, my heart racing. My hands stop pushing and start pulling, drawing him closer instead. His shirt buttons dig into my palms as I clutch at him. "I hate you," I whisper, but it comes out sounding like something else entirely. "I know," he says, his voice a growl as he pulls my nightgown up and over my head in one swift motion. The cool air hits my skin, and I shiver, suddenly exposed beneath him. Miles sits back on his heels, his eyes raking over me with an intensity that makes me want to cover myself. But I don't. I lie there, letting him look, watching his pupils dilate with desire. He shrugs out of his shirt, revealing the tanned skin and hard muscle beneath. His hands go to his belt next, and I watch, transfixed, as he undresses. Despite everything, despite the hurt and the anger and the impending divorce, I still find him beautiful. Still want him with an ache that borders on pain. When he returns to me, his skin is hot against mine, his weight delicious as he settles between my thegs. His mouth finds mine again, softer this time, almost tender. I kiss him back, my anger melting into something else, something desperate and hungry. His stubble scratches against my skin as his lips move down my neck, across my collarbone, to my breast. I arch into his touch, a small sound escaping me. His hands are everywhere, stroking, teasing, claiming. My body remembers this dance, even as my mind rebels against it. Miles, I gasp as his fingers find my sensitive nub, as they stroke and circle and dip inside. What do you want? He asks, his voice rough against my ear. You, I admit. Just you. He enters me with one hard thrust, and I cry out, my nails digging into his shoulders. The pace he sets is relentless, almost punishing, each stroke driving me higher. I wrap my legs around his waist, urging him deeper, meeting him thrust for thrust. Our lovemaking has always been like this, a battle for control that neither of us ever truly wins. His hands grip my hips hard enough to bruise, and I welcome the pain, dig my heels into his back to pull him closer. Look at me, he commands, and I open my eyes to find his face inches from mine, his expression fierce with concentration and something else. Something almost like pain. I reach up to touch his face, but he quickly catches my hands and pins them on either side of my bed. Miles never allows me to touch him during sex, but somehow, the tension builds inside me, coiling tighter and tighter until I'm right at the edge. Miles seems to sense it. He always could read my body better than my heart, and his movements become more focused and deliberate. Come for me, he whispers, his voice a harsh command, and I do, shattering around him with a cry that he swallows with his mouth on mine. He follows moments later, his body going rigid above me. He groans loudly as he fills me up with cum. He had never said my name when he orgasmed before. At first, Roxy's name used to slip out of his mouth, but with time, he learned how to control himself and groans instead. But it makes me wonder if he thinks of Roxy when he fucks me. Is he thinking of her now? Reality comes crashing back all too soon. Miles rolls away, his arm flung across his eyes, his chest still rising and falling rapidly. I lie beside him, suddenly aware of the coolness of the room, of my nakedness, and of the vulnerability I swore I wouldn't show him again. Telling myself this was just sex, I start to move, to gather my discarded nightgown, beating him to his own game. I wear my nightwear and take the pillow again. Where are you going? He asks. I'll take the couch, I mumble, already placing the pillow on the long couch in the bedroom. You sleep on the bed. Miles props himself up onto his elbows. What the fuck has come over you, Rhea? He asks. How is it? I ask calmly. How is what? He asks with drawn eyebrows. A taste of your own medicine? Miles's usual unreadable face shifts into shock, just for a moment, and he glares at me from the bed, but says nothing. He has nothing to say. I lie down, turning my back to him and drawing the blanket over me. It's high time I took control of my life. Miles's point of view. The arena is alive with energy. Bright LED lights flash across the field, and the distant chatter of the crowd hums in the air. The interpack games are about to begin, and as the host alpha, I should be focused. I should be projecting an image of calm and unshakable power. I step into the arena with Roxy at my side, her arm looped through mine, but something in my chest feels tight and wrong. My wolf paces inside me, restless and angry. But I cannot figure out why until I see Rhea. She is standing near the starting line with the game teams, clipboard in hand, giving instructions to them. It is her Luna duties, but it is Yuri beside her that makes my blood boil. The way he leans in when she speaks, the way his eyes never leave her face, and the way her blonde hair catches the light as she laughs at something he has said. My fingers curl into fists before I can stop them, my nails biting into my palms. The pain is a welcome distraction from the sudden, inexplicable rage burning through my veins. I had gone to pick Roxy up from her refuge pack just hours ago and had purposely arranged to walk in with her on my arm, just to spite Rhea for last night. I wanted it to serve as a reminder of where my loyalty lies. But right now, I cannot remember why that seemed so important. Miles? Roxy's voice barely registers. Are you listening to me? I force my gaze away from Rhea. What? Roxy sighs, her perfectly painted lips forming a pout. I asked if we should sit in the alpha box or mingle first. Her hand comes up to her neck, and her fingers play with the golden wolf head pendant hanging there. My necklace. The one I gave her all those years ago by the river. Whatever you want, I mutter, my attention already drifting back to the field. The evening breeze lifts strands of Rhea's hair, making them gleam like spun gold under the harsh arena lights. She is wearing fitted athletic wear tonight, black leggings that hug her curves, and a blue top bearing the Snowfall Pack insignia. My eyes trace the line of her back and the gentle curve of her hips. A strange, unfamiliar heat pools in my gut. Why have I never noticed how sexy she looks? My neck itches, Roxy complains, rubbing at the skin beneath the necklace. Can you scratch it for me? Ken. I look down at her, at the expectant tilt of her head, at the exposed column of her perfect throat where the golden wolf pendant rests. For a moment, I debated leaning down and kissing her throat. She has such clear skin. But I remind myself that even though I love her, I cannot disrespect my Luna like that, especially in public. I reach out with my fingers instead, brushing against her skin as I scratch lightly. She leans into my touch, eyes closing in satisfaction. Better? I ask. Much. But my eyes have already returned to Rhea. She is demonstrating something to the teams now. I have never seen her look this confident, so commanding and so at peace. Or maybe you weren't paying attention. My wolf taunts me in my head. I growl at him, and he recedes. The last thing I want is to get into a verbal fight with Titan, my wolf, who I believe does not even like me enough, because he has had an attitude ever since my mating ceremony with Rhea. Focusing on Rhea again, I remember how she trembled beneath me last night, how she arched into my touch, desperate and wanting. Her body still wants mine. She still loves me, that I can tell, and has used as a weapon against her since the beginning of our marriage. Miles, you are staring. Roxy hisses, tugging at my arm. What's so interesting about your Luna's boring duties? Nothing. I lie, the word tasting bitter on my tongue. Just making sure everything's running smoothly. Why the heck am I lying? Who am I supposed to be accountable to? Roxy or my wife? Last night plays on loop in my head. Rhea's body, warm and yielding under mine. The way she moaned my name. The feeling of being inside her, so right and perfect. Like coming home. It has not always felt like that. I have always imagined her as Roxy each time we had sex. But last night, I had focused on her, and it felt perfect. And then, there's the shock of her turning the tables against me, detaching immediately after orgasm, just like I have done to her countless times before, and even stubbornly sleeping on the couch. The memory burns through me, hot and unwelcoming. Miles! Roxy's voice is sharper now, her nails digging into my arm through my jacket. You haven't heard a word I've said. Sorry, I mutter, forcing my attention back to her. I'm just distracted. Clearly, her eyes narrow, following my gaze across the field. Oh, I see. Watching your wife flirt with Alpha Yuri? Her words slice through me like claws. She is not flirting, I growl. But even as I say it, I see Rhea laugh again, her head tilted back, exposing the delicate line of her throat. Yuri is too close, his smile too intimate, and his eyes too warm. I watch as Rhea steps forward to demonstrate some move to the assembled teams. She maneuvers to one of the younger wolves and almost trips over a stray piece of equipment, and Yuri's hands are there in an instant, catching her, his hands resting firmly on her waist to steady her. To the rest of the world, it happens so fast that one can barely read anything, but through my lens, everything moves in slow motion, my eyes catching every movement. They share a smile, probably her thanking him. It is supposed to be a quick, easy smile. But all I see is a shared moment that feels like a knife in my gut. Well, look at that, Roxy says. Your Luna seems quite comfortable with another alpha's hands on her. Something inside me snaps. A control I did not know was so fragile, giving way to primal rage. I pull away from Roxy so abruptly she staggers, but I'm already moving, pushing through the crowd, my vision tunneling until all I can see is Rhea and Yuri, still standing too close, still smiling. Pack members part before me, some calling greetings that I ignore. A Gamma tries to stop me with a question about the ceremony security, but I brush past him, focused only on my target. My wolf is clawing at my insides, demanding action, demanding I claim what's mine. I reach them in seconds that feel like hours, and my hand closes around Rhea's wrist before I even realize what I'm doing. She turns, surprise flashing across her face, but it's quickly replaced by something cooler and more guarded. "Miles," she says, her voice calm despite the rapid pulse I can feel beneath my fingers. "Is something wrong?" Yuri's grip instinctively tightens on Rhea's other wrist, anchoring her in place as he steps forward. "Easy there. Is there a problem, Alpha Miles?" he asks, his voice calm but his eyes hard. "You might want to be careful. What's going on here?" My wolf howls in fury and I turn my glare on him, letting my own alpha aura flare. "I need to speak with my wife," I growl, putting venomous emphasis on the word. "Is that a problem? For you?" Yuri's eyes narrow slightly with challenge in their depths. "Not at all," he says smoothly, but he does not immediately release her. If that's what Luna Rhea wants. The formal use of her title feels like a deliberate provocation. I bare my teeth, not quite a smile, and not quite a threat. "I need to speak with my wife," I repeat. Alone. Rhea's gaze flicks between us, and something unreadable passes across her face. "It's fine, Yuri," she says finally. "I'll finish the team briefing after." Yuri reluctantly drops his hand, his eyes never leaving mine. "I'll be right here if you need me," he tells her, and the double meaning is not lost on me. I tug Rhea away before she can respond, guiding her toward the shadowed area beneath the stands, where the noise of the crowd is muffled. She comes willingly enough, but there's a stiffness to her movements that speaks of resistance. Once we're hidden from prying eyes, I release her wrist, spin around to face her, suddenly unsure what to say. The rage that propelled me across the arena is still there, but it's mixed with something else now: confusion, hurt, and a strange sense of loss. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" I demand. Finally, my voice low and harsh. Rhea rubs her wrist where my fingers gripped her, though I know I did not hurt her. "I'm organizing the games," she says coolly. "It's my duty as Luna." She makes to move, but I grip her wrist again, stopping her. "That's not what I meant," I growl. "What are you doing laughing and falling into the arms of another alpha in public?" She looks at me, and her expression is not fearful or apologetic. It is cold. As cold as the ice that has lived between us for 18 months. Oh, since my own husband was busy picking up my sister from another pack, another alpha decided to help me. The words hit like a physical blow. "That's not fair," I protest. "Fair?" Rhea laughs, but there's no humor in it. "You want to talk about fair, Miles?" She yanks her wrist from my grasp. The move is so sudden and forceful that I'm momentarily stunned. "The games start in 10 minutes. She continues, her voice flat and devoid of emotion. "There are 6 packs watching us right now. I suggest you go back to playing the part of the perfect, doting alpha, and I will play the part of the perfect, supportive Luna. For this whole week, can you please just maintain the same detachment you've shown for the last 18 months? Let's get through these festivals, and then I'll sign your papers, and you can run to Roxy without having to pretend anymore." She turns to leave, but I catch her arm, unable to let her go. "Rhea, I want to exert my dominance, but I don't even know what to feel at this moment. Different emotions are warring inside me, and I hate not having control." I drop my hand, and she pulls away, straightening her shoulders and lifting her chin. In that moment, she looks more like an alpha than I ever have. Strong, determined, and unbreakable. "I need to get back," she says. "The teams are waiting." Without waiting for my response, she turns and walks away, her back straight, her head held high. She disappears back into the bright lights of the arena, leaving me standing alone in the shadows, stunned and speechless. "Miles!" Roxy's voice cuts through my thoughts, sharp and demanding. I fight to contain my fury as my wolf growls inside. "What the hell was that?" she demands. "You just left me standing there like an idiot." Something inside me snaps, and the last thread of my control gives way to a flood of frustration, anger, and confusion. "What?" I bark, louder than I intended, spinning to face her. "Can you just leave me the fuck alone?" Roxy's jaw drops, her eyes widening as she takes a step back. She looks shocked and hurt, like I have slapped her. In all our years together, through all our complicated history, I have never spoken to her like that. Miles? She whispers, her voice small and uncertain. I run a hand through my hair, suddenly exhausted. I'm sorry, I mutter. I need a minute. But Roxy has already spun on her heels, and I realize a minute is not going to be enough. Nothing is going to be enough to untangle the mess I've made of everything. I return to the arena with my blood still boiling and the taste of fury still metallic on my tongue. The arena buzzes like a hive of anticipation. The floodlights are so bright they bleach the color from the grass, turning the field into a stage. It's time for the Luna's game choice, the main event of the opening night. But all I can focus on is Rhea standing in the center of the field. Ladies and gentlemen, Alphas and Lunas, welcome to the highlight of tonight's opening ceremony, the Luna's choice. The arena announcer's voice booms through the speakers, startling me from my fixation. Cheers erupt from every corner of the stadium. Pack members stamp their feet, creating a thunderous rhythm that vibrates through the ground beneath me. I force my face into the mask of calm indifference I've perfected over years of alpha training, even as my wolf paces restlessly inside me, hackles raised, ready to fight. As tradition dictates, our host Luna will now select her partner for the midnight relay. More cheers. Someone claps me on the shoulder. I turn to see my friends, Evans and Rico, appearing at my side. Ready to show off those famous Mondragon reflexes? Evans asks, his voice light but his eyes shrewd, taking in my rigid posture. I grunt in response, not trusting myself to speak. Of course I'm ready. This is my territory, my pack, my games. And Rhea is my Luna, regardless of who she works with. The announcer continues. The midnight relay is a test of coordination, strength, and trust between partners. Teams will navigate obstacles, decode ancient pack symbols, and complete challenges that require perfect synchronization. I watch as Rhea steps forward and the spotlight follows her movements. The midnight blue of her Luna uniform makes her skin glow, almost ethereal. Her hair is pulled back in a practical braid, revealing the clean lines of her face, the determined set of her jaw. When did she become so beautiful? Has she always been, and I've just refused to see it? That's because you've been so busy hating her to notice, my wolf growls. Luna Rhea Mondragon, please step forward and announce your chosen partner for the midnight relay, the announcer says. The crowd hushes, a collective breath held in anticipation. This is it, a public show of unity, a lie we will perform for the good of the pack. I straighten my shoulders, ready to play my part. This is merely formality. Everyone knows she will choose me. I take a half step forward, ready to join her in the center of the arena. Rhea lifts her chin, adjusting her microphone as she says, I choose Alpha Yuridanovich as my partner. The words hit me like a physical blow. I freeze mid-step, my body suddenly cold despite the warm evening air. Whispers erupt around me, quickly growing into a buzz of shocked conversations. I can feel eyes turning to me, watching for my reaction, waiting for the explosion. What the fuck? Rico mutters beside me, loud enough for only me to hear. I can't move, can't breathe, and certainly can't process what has just happened. My Luna, my wife, has just publicly rejected me in front of 6 packs, chosen another alpha over me, humiliated me on my own territory. Look what you caused. My wolf snarls inside my head, furious and accusing. You pushed her to him. The announcer falters, clearly thrown by this unprecedented choice. Well, that's certainly. Alpha Yuridanovich, please join Luna Rhea in the center. Yuri steps forward with a grace that makes me want to tear him apart limb by limb. His face is carefully neutral, but I catch the slight upward tilt at the corner of his mouth like satisfaction, maybe even triumph. He takes his place beside Rhea, and something passes between them, a look of understanding that twists my gut into knots. My wolf is in a frenzy now, clawing at my insides, demanding I reclaim what's mine. I dig my nails into my palms, feeling the sharp sting as they break skin. Control. I need control. Alpha Miles, the announcer calls, his voice uncertain. As tradition dictates, when an alpha or Luna chooses another partner, you may select from the available participants. My eyes scan the field, landing on Roxy, who stands at the edge looking as stunned as I feel. Our eyes meet, and I can see the calculation there. The wheels turning as she realizes the opportunity this presents. I choose Roxy Chapman, I say, my voice coming out colder than I intend. More whispers, more shocked faces. I've just selected my Luna's twin sister, the woman everyone knows I've always preferred. It's a deliberate slapback at Rhea, and the crowd knows it. The tension in the arena thickens until it's almost suffocating. As I walk to bring Roxy, I catch Rhea watching me, her expression unreadable. For a fleeting moment, I think I see hurt flash across her face, but then it's gone, replaced by that maddening calm she has developed for these few days of our marriage. "This is unexpected," Roxy whispers as I reach her. Her fingers come up to play with the wolf pendant at her throat. My necklace, the one that Rhea has been claiming as her own. "But we can win this." I don't respond. My eyes are still locked on Rhea and Yuri as the announcer awkwardly continues with the rules. 4 teams will compete in the first round us against Rhea and Yuri, and 2 other Alpha Luna pairs from visiting packs. The winners of each matchup will face off in the final round. The relay begins with teams lining up at different starting points. We will navigate through a series of obstacles, collect tokens at each checkpoint, and race to the finish line. Simple enough, but requiring perfect coordination between partners. Alpha Yuri and Luna Rhea, you will take the North course. Alpha Miles and Miss Roxy, the East course. Alpha Thorn and Luna Selena, South. Alpha Marcus and Luna Elena, West. I roll my shoulders, trying to loosen the tension that has coiled my muscles into steel cables. Beside me, Roxy shifts from foot to foot, her nervousness palpable. "Ready when you are," she says, but her voice lacks conviction. The starting horn blares, and we're off. Roxy and I sprint toward our first obstacle. It's a 12-foot wall with only a rope to assist the climb. I reach it first, turning to help her up, but she is already struggling with the rope. Her movements are awkward and panicked. "Hurry," I snap, harsher than necessary. "I'm trying," she hisses back. I glance across the field and see Rhea and Yuri already scaling their wall with ease, as if they have done this 100 times before. Yuri boosts Rhea up with his hands steady on her waist, and she reaches the top in one fluid motion, turning to help pull him up. They are over the wall and moving to the next obstacle before Roxy is even halfway up ours. "Fuck," I mutter, grabbing Roxy around the waist and practically throwing her to the top. She yelps in surprise but manages to scramble over. I follow quickly, my movements efficient but lacking the grace Yuri displayed. We navigate the second obstacle, a crawl through a narrow tunnel, with Roxy complaining about the dirt ruining her clothes. By the time we emerge, Rhea and Yuri are already at the third checkpoint, decoding ancient pack symbols to unlock a chest containing their next token. I watch, transfixed, as Rhea points to different symbols, speaking quickly to Yuri. Their heads are bent close together again, bodies angled toward each other. They move in perfect sync, like dance partners who have spent years learning each other's rhythms. Yuri says something that makes Rhea laugh, a genuine sound that carries across the field and hits me like a punch. When have I ever made her laugh like that? "Miles," Roxy's voice snaps me back to our own challenge. "The symbols, what do they mean?" I turn back to our own chest, forcing myself to focus on the ancient markings. As the Alpha, I should know these. They are part of our pack's history and our legacy. But my mind is foggy with rage and something dangerously close to jealousy. "Protection," I mutter, pointing to one. "Loyalty, strength, family." Roxy tries different combinations, her frustration growing with each failed attempt. "It's not working." I push her aside, my patience worn thin. "Let me." I input the correct sequence: loyalty, family, strength, protection, and the chest clicks open. We grab our token and race to the next challenge, but we're already far behind. Across the field, Rhea and Yuri have completed all their challenges and are sprinting toward the finish line. The crowd roars as they cross first, easily qualifying for the final round. I watch as Yuri lifts Rhea in a celebratory hug, spinning her around while she laughs, her face alight with genuine joy. It's a side of her I've rarely seen, carefree, radiant, and alive. My grip on our final token tightens until the edges dig painfully into my palm. We cross our finish line third, barely qualifying for the next round. Roxy is breathing hard beside me, her face flushed with exertion and embarrassment. "We need to do better," she says, her voice tight. "Everyone is watching us fail." "We will," I respond, but my eyes are still on Rhea, who stands at the edge of the field with Yuri, both of them drinking water and talking animatedly. Her eyes catch mine for just a moment, and I see a flash of defiance and of triumph. "I think she is just seeking to get your attention," Roxy mutters. The final round begins after a short break. This time, all remaining teams start together, racing through a more complex course with higher obstacles and more difficult puzzles. Roxy and I move better now, having found some rhythm. but we are still no match for Rhea and Yuri's seamless coordination. As we approach the midpoint of the course, I see Yuri pass Rhea in the tag zone, their hands connecting in a perfect exchange of the relay baton. Something inside me snaps at the sight of their fingers touching and lingering for a second too long. I veer from my lane, deliberately angling toward Yuri as he rounds the bend. Our shoulders collide hard, and I put my full alpha strength behind the impact. Yuri stumbles, nearly falling, sand kicking up around his boots as he fights to stay upright. The referee's whistle pierces the air, like a sharp warning. But the race continues, with Yuri recovering quickly and sprinting ahead while I return to my lane. Roxy's shocked gasp rings in my ears. The rest of the race passes in a blur of obstacles and challenges, but we never catch up. Rhea and Yuri cross the finish line first, seconds before Roxy and me, and the other pair comes in a distant third. The crowd erupts in cheers for them, but the sound is like salt in an open wound. As competitors and officials gather at the finish line, I spot Yuri grinning at Rhea, saying something that makes her smile up at him. My vision narrows to a pinpoint, blood rushing in my ears. Before I can think better of it, I'm moving across the field, shoving past officials and competitors alike. I hit Yuri from behind, tackling him to the ground with enough force to knock the breath from both of us. Sand flies up around us as we hit the earth, and I pin him down, my forearm across his throat, my knee in his chest. "What the fuck do you think you're doing?" I growl, low enough that only he can hear. The crowd gasps, then falls silent. From the corner of my eye, I see security gammas rushing toward us, but they hesitate, unsure how to handle their alpha attacking a visiting pack leader. Yuri doesn't struggle. He just stares up at me, his dark eyes calm, almost amused, and a smirk curls his lip. "Sore loser, Miles," he whispers. I press down harder, feeling the rapid pulse beneath my forearm. My wolf howls for blood, for domination, and for him to submit or die. My free hand curls into a fist, drawing back, ready to smash that smirk off his face. "What the fuck, Miles?" someone yells. It is not spoken aloud, but through our mind link, a connection I thought had withered from disuse. Her voice in my head is so unexpected and so intimate that it freezes me in place. I turn to see Rhea standing behind us, glaring at me. "Don't you dare crash my games." Something in me responds to it, to her before I can stop it. The security gammas reach us, cautiously approaching like I'm a wild animal they need to contain. In a way, they are right. I am dangerous right now, only balanced on the knife edge of control. Slowly and reluctantly, I release Yuri and push myself off him. He gets to his feet with more grace than I would have liked, brushing sand from his uniform. "Alpha Miles," one of the gammas starts, his voice hesitant. "Sir, I silence him with a glare, already turning away, unable to stomach what will come next. The announcer's voice rings out, declaring Rhea and Yuri the winners of the midnight relay. The crowd's response is tentative at first, then swelling into genuine applause apparently from Yuri's pack. I stalk off the field, my pride in tatters and my control still dangerously thin. Roxy stands off at the corner, watching me with barely contained fury as her chest rises and falls. But I do not care right now. At the edge of the arena, I turn back just once, in time to see Rhea accepting the winner's medallion. Yuri stands beside her, his hand on the small of her back in a gesture that looks far too comfortable and too familiar. The crowd's cheers wash over them, golden and adoring. Rhea's eyes find mine across the distance, holding for just a moment. In them, I see neither triumph nor anger, just a quiet resolve that somehow cuts deeper than either would have. The pack house is quiet in the early morning hours. The energy from last night's games has faded, leaving behind a stillness that feels heavy. I had drifted off to a dream-filled sleep once my head touched the pillow. I make my way to the kitchen, needing the simple comfort of a cup of tea. The air is already filled with the smell of baking bread and brewing coffee. Rose, the head servant, is standing at the large central island, kneading dough. Her silver hair is neatly tied in a bun, and she hums a soft tune. She looks up from the dough she is kneading as I enter, flour dusting her forearms like winter frost. "Luna, Rhea, you are up early. Good morning." She wipes her hands on her apron and moves to the stove. Sit. I will make you some tea." I slide onto a stool at the island counter, grateful for the solid surface under my elbows as another wave of queasiness washes over me. For a few days now, I have woken up with this sick feeling. A few days of carrying a secret that grows heavier with each sunrise. "You were magnificent last night," Rose says, her back to me as she fills a kettle. The whole kitchen staff was watching. We all cheered when you and Alpha Yuri crossed that finish line first. Thank you, Rose, I say politely, my chest tightening at the memory. The way you two moved together, she shakes her head in admiration, like you had been practicing for years. Even Holmes was impressed, and you know how that old wolf never gets excited about anything. 6. The memory of Yuri's hand on the small of my back after our victory flashes through my mind. So does the look on Miles's face when he saw it, like I had reached into his chest and squeezed his heart with my bare hands. It was just a game, I say, the words hollow even to my own ears. Rose sets a steaming mug of peppermint tea in front of me, her keen eyes taking in my pallor. You are pale this morning, Luna. Not sleeping well? I cup my hands around the warm mug, letting the steam bathe my face. Just tired from all the excitement. She does not believe me. I can tell by the slight furrow between her brows. But she is too kind to press. Instead, she returns to her dough, punching it down. Alpha Miles left early this morning, she says, her tone carefully neutral. Beta Evans said he went to check the borders, something about reports of rogues. My fingers tighten around the mug. Of course he left. Easier to run than to face what happened last night. After the games last night, I had not bothered returning to our matrimonial room because I did not have the strength for Miles's confrontation. I was so tired from all the preparations that all I needed was a good rest. I see, I say, taking a sip of tea that scalds my tongue but settles my stomach. You know, Rose continues, her voice softening, I have been serving this pack since Alpha Dennis was just a pup. I have seen alphas come and go, Lunas rise and fall, but I have never seen anyone handle themselves with the grace you showed last night, especially after, well. The unspoken hangs between us after Roxy's return and all the emotional neglect I have been going through. The staff see it. They all know. Thank you, I whisper, the words catching in my throat. Rose sprinkles more flour on her dough, silent for a long moment. Then she looks up, her gaze direct in a way that only someone who has known you since childhood can manage. How did you and Alpha Yuri read each other so well? She asks. I have never seen a pair move with such perfect synchronization. It was like you and Alpha Yuri were reading each other's minds. The question suddenly makes my mind wander. And suddenly, I am not in the warm kitchen anymore. I am by the river, years ago, sun dappling through leaves, sand between my toes, and Yuri's laughter in my ears. The mug slips from my fingers, clattering against the counter. Tea spills across the marble surface, but I cannot move to clean it. My hands are frozen, my mind miles and years away. Luna? Rose's voice breaks through the fog. Are you all right? I blink rapidly, coming back to myself. I am sorry. She is already there with a cloth, mopping up the spill. No harm done. Her eyes meet mine, knowing and gentle. You went somewhere else just now. Just a memory, I say, my voice sounding distant even to my own ears. Rose does not push. Just refills my mug and places it carefully back in front of me. Then she sits on the stool beside mine, something she rarely does, this crossing of the invisible line between Luna and staff. You know, she says softly, before you were Luna, before you were even old enough for your awakening, I used to see you and that Silverstone boy together. My heart skips. No one talks about those days, the years Miles was away at training, when I was just Rhea Chapman, the less favored twin, waiting for a boy who had made me a promise by the river. Alpha Yuri, I correct automatically. Rose smiles. Yes, Alpha Yuri now. But then? Just a lanky boy with too much confidence and eyes that followed you everywhere. She pats my hand. You two were always running off somewhere, always coming back breathless and laughing. The memory rises again, stronger this time, impossible to push away. Yuri is teaching me to skip stones across the river's surface. Yuri showing me how to track by scent. Yuri catching me when I fell. We were friends, I say, but the words feel inadequate for what we were. Friends, Rose agrees. And last night, watching you two, it was like seeing those children again, so in tune with each other. Her eyes hold mine. How did you do it, Luna? How did you move together like that when everyone expected you to choose Alpha Miles? I stare into my tea, watching ripples form from my shaking hands. The past presses against the present, demanding to be acknowledged. We used to practice, I whisper, and just like that, the floodgates open, and I am there again, 3 years ago, before everything changed. The summer I turned 16, The riverbank becomes our sanctuary. While Miles trains in a distant pack, I come here to escape my mother's cold eyes and Roxy's cutting remarks. Yuri finds me one day, skipping stones across the glassy surface. And after that, it becomes our place. We create our own world here. A tangle of inside jokes, whispered secrets, and improvised games that only we understand. The pack house suffocates me, but here by the water, with sand between my toes and Yuri's easy laughter in my ears, I can breathe. Ready? Yuri crouches at our makeshift starting line, a stick driven into the sand. The sun cuts through the leaves overhead, painting his dark hair with flecks of gold. I nod, settling into position beside him. We have stripped off our shoes, leaving them in a jumbled pile by the old oak that marks our territory. The sand is warm beneath my feet, still holding the day's heat though evening approaches. 3, 2. But he is already moving, sprinting ahead with a whoop of laughter. Cheater! I yell, launching after him. The course is ours, designed over weeks of trial and error. From the starting line, we race along the bank, ducking under low-hanging branches, leaping over driftwood obstacles, splashing through the shallow edges of the river where it cuts close to shore. We have run it so many times that my muscles remember every turn, every dip, and every place where the sand gives way to gravel. I catch up to him at the first checkpoint, a lightning-struck tree we have decorated with colored stones. We slap our palms against the rough bark simultaneously, our breaths coming in perfect rhythm. You are getting faster, Yuri says, his grin wide and unguarded in a way it never is at the pack house where he must maintain the dignity of a future alpha. Or you are getting slower, I taunt, already pushing off toward the next marker. He laughs and gives chase, his longer legs eating up the distance between us. But I am nimbler, more agile, darting between obstacles he has to power through. When I reach the twisted route we use as our second checkpoint, I am a full stride ahead. Point for me, I crow, dancing backward as he reaches for the route. Lucky break, he says, but his eyes are bright with pride, not disappointment. We continue like this, trading the lead, anticipating each other's movements so completely that sometimes it feels like we share one mind. When I feint left, he is already there to mirror me. When he stumbles over a hidden rock, my hand shoots out to steady him before he can fall. Relay handoff, he calls as we approach the halfway point, holding out a smooth river stone we use as our baton. I extend my hand without looking, and the stone slides from his palm to mine like it belongs there. We have practiced this countless times, perfecting the motion until it is as natural as breathing. The final stretch of our course winds through a stand of young birches. I push myself harder, feeling the burn in my calves, the expansion of my lungs as I gulp the sweet river air. Yuri is just behind me, his footfalls matching mine beat for beat. The finish line, a strip of red cloth tied between two saplings, comes into view. I put on a final burst of speed, but my foot catches on an exposed root. The world tilts, and I am falling, arms windmilling. Strong hands catch me before I hit the ground. The momentum spins us around, and suddenly I am pressed against Yuri's chest, his arms encircling my waist. We are both breathing hard, our faces inches apart. His eyes are dark and serious, holding mine with an intensity that makes my heart skip. I have got you, he says, his voice lower than usual. I will always catch you when you fall, Rhea. The way he says my name, soft and almost reverent, sends a shiver through me that has nothing to do with the cooling evening air. Why do we even play this game? I ask, breathless and still caught in the warmth of his grip. Yuri's expression shifts and a spark of seriousness flickers in his eyes. Because I am preparing you for the Interpack Games, he replies. One day, when you become my Luna, you will need to know how to navigate challenges, just like this. He tightens his hold, as if emphasizing the weight of his words. His intense gaze pins me in place. One day, he says, we are going to win the Luna's Choice game together. Heat rushes to my cheeks. I am flustered, and my heart does a strange flip in my chest. The words are too heavy for the playful atmosphere we usually maintain. His gaze drops to my mouth, and for a heartbeat, I think he might kiss me. Something flutters in my chest, not rejection, but not quite acceptance either. But Miles's handsome face flashes in my mind's eye. The echoes of our promise that night drift over me. My hand moves without conscious thought, and my fingers find the golden wolf pendant that hangs around my neck. Miles' necklace. My promise.